All right, so right now I am on the passenger front side, and I have taken the brake pads out, the old ones, and the piston is out. And I just took out the 13 millimeter to get to these right here. And this other half of the caliper is held by 17 millimeter. So I took those, I loosened those out so I can take this other half of the caliper out, which would lead to this being loose, or, you know, able to take it out. Put all of my screws in my chair so I don't lose them. Take this one out. And there it is, it's loose, it's out. So we can take this screw out just to be out of the way. Well, it is loose. Take that old bastard out. All right, so next up, we are going to push the pistons back in its place. And make sure when you take out any caliper, you don't leave it dangling on the side, because the brake cables will get harmed and they could eventually leak down the line. It's like when you're stretching something, you don't want to stretch it too much because these are heavy, and so you want to make sure that you put the brake caliper on top of something so it does not stretch the cables, the brake cables. So let's go get the other new one, which is in the box. Yeah, all right. Literally brand new. So brand stinking new. Japanese brand called Nakamoto. Sorry about that. So Nakamoto is going to go in the car. So let's set the phone right here. There we go. So we twisted the wheel to the left-hand side so it'll give us more grip here for the brake caliper. Brand new. Now, of course, it's not going to stay in place until I put this other half and then the brake caliper. But before I put the brake caliper, I need to get that tool that I told you about, which is right... Where did you put it, Adam? Right here with the other brake kit, which I'm not going to use. So what this does, looks like a really cheesy, cheeky part. What it does is the pistons here. Now, when you press on the brakes, these pistons come out and they push the brake pads onto the rotor. Now, since, of course, I've used them, they're stretching out. So in order for me to fit the brake pads back in, I need to push them. So what I do, set this right there. So I loosen this. Oh. Then I install it. Wait, hold on. Then I install it here, just like that. Okay. Sorry, I don't have the best tools in the world. So I set that right there, and then I just screw this right here. Sorry guys, I'm using one hand. And then as you can see, everything will take course and it will hold in place. And if you take a good close look there, I don't know if you can see it, it's actually pushing back the piston. So it'll give it more space. It'll give it more space for the brake pads when you refit the brake caliper. Now, okay, we got one side. Push it all the way in. Sorry guys, once again I'm using one hand. It's a one-man show. So push that back in. Of course, you're gonna, as you can see right now, you see the difference between this one and that one, those two. So now I gotta do the other side. So, of course, do the very same thing operation here, the very same operation right here. once it grabs on both sides, you'll see that every time I turn, the piston is getting pushed back in, which is cool. A little nifty little tool here. I'm sorry guys, I'm using one single hand. So see here, as I turn, the piston in here gets pushed inside. We want to push it all the way as much as we can, not too far, but just enough to give space. Now, as you can see, it's all the way pushed in, which is good. So the next time we want to put some brakes in, which is right now, it'll have enough room. And how will these come back out? Well, once you press the brakes, that's it. Everything will come back in place. All right. So now the piston calipers, I mean the brake pistons, I'm sorry, brain fart. The brake pistons are pushed back in, so now I have more space for the brake pads, which I'm going to clean because they still have some good life in them, just like the driver's side. Just a little dirt, which I could clean up. And these, my friend, go here. All right.